Hey guys, so this is our last week of math lessons. And today, if you looked at the calendar, it said 116 through 119, which I know seems like a lot. But it's all about adding and subtracting decimals, and I felt like we could just put it all together. You've done adding and subtracting money, and so it's basically the same thing. So I'm just going to go over these really quickly. But at the bottom of the page, this is page 399. And it's lesson 116. We remember that when we add money, we line up all the decimal points. Like this, $1.43.25. And all the decimals are lined up, and then of course you have your dollar signs. Well, you do the same thing when you're adding decimal numbers. Like if you're adding 3.47 or 3 and 47/100ths, 36/100ths or 0.36, and 1.4, even though there's nothing here in this space because this is 4/10ths, you would still line it up because this is the hundredths place and this is the tenths place. And then, of course, you have your whole number ones place. So you would just make sure your decimals are lined up and then add it together. And so it shows you here. You would add 7 plus 6, which is 13. Put your 3, carry 1. Then 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Put your 2, carry 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And your answer is 5.23 or 5 and 23 hundredths. And there are some practice problems if you want to practice that. And so that's, of course, problem set 116 has plenty of problems if you want to practice those. Lesson 117 on page 402 is subtracting decimal numbers, and it shows you the same thing with money. If you had $6.57 plus $1.30, you would line it up this way. And you see there's a zero there because it's money, you have to put the zero. But if you just had 1.3, you would still have to line your decimals up. So here is the example. If you had 6.57 minus 1.3, it's the same as $6.57 minus $1.30. They just didn't write the zero. So you'll see that over here on the next page, and it shows you here the hundredths, the tenths, and the ones, and they just filled in a zero just to hold that spot so that, you make sure it's lined up. But the decimals are lined up. So then you subtract 7 minus 0 is 7. 5 minus 3 is 2, and 6 minus 1 is 5. Okay? And there are some subtraction practice problems. Then we go to lesson 118, which is setting up decimal addition problems. So this is just reminding you if the problem isn't already written for you and you have to write it out yourself, just to line up the decimal points. And so you'll see here they have a horizontal problem written this way. And if you want to, or once you write them horizontally, you're just going to want to be sure that you line up your decimal point, and you'll line it up in your answer as well. And so here you would just have 6 plus nothing, then 4 plus 2 plus 1, which is 7, then 6 plus 4, which is 10, plus 3 is 13. Put your 3, carry 1, and you'd have 4. And they have it down here. 43 plus 0.76, or 43 and 76 100ths. And so here are some practice problems for you. And even if you didn't want to add them up, you could just practice writing them or just look at them and see kind of how you would line them up. But like I said, the most important thing is just lining up those decimals. And then lesson 119 is setting up decimal subtraction problems. So same thing, if you had a vertical problem, we just want to be sure that you line up the decimal points. So you have 36.45 and 4.2 that you're subtracting. And they just wrote it like this. And it looks kind of weird, but the decimals are lined up, which is the important thing. And so you could put a 0 here if you want. And then you subtract 5 minus nothing, or 5 minus 0 is 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 3 minus nothing is 3. And they just made sure to keep the decimal point. And then there are a couple of examples. Now here's one that has nothing on top. 4.5 minus 3.27. Well, you can't shift it over. You still got to keep those decimals lined up. So you'll fill in a 0 here. And then, of course, you can't do 0 minus 7. So you go next door, cross out the 5 and make it a 4. This becomes 10. 10 minus 7 equals 3. 4 minus 2 is 2. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So then your answer is 1.23, or 1 23/100ths. And then, as always, there are some practice problems. Now, if you are doing a problem set today, then problem set 119 is the problem set that goes with this. So even though we covered 4 lessons, you only have to do the one problem set. Like we've been doing the last few days, I would say go ahead and do all the word problems if you're going to do these, and then maybe just pick one of each kind of problem out of the rest, like one addition, or maybe do the, like adding and subtracting decimals, one of each of those maybe, and then, a multiplication, a division, and then maybe the geometry one, if you want to kind of practice doing each kind of problem. So anyway, that is how we breeze through 4 chapters of math. But you guys will do great with that, I know. Thanks. Have a great day.